Howdy, folks. The time is now. Keep this in mind if you're a storyteller, and remember, we are all storytellers. But here's the trap. Most storytellers tell their stories in the past tense. And that makes sense, right? I mean, the story has already happened. But when you tell it in the past tense, you strip away intrigue, mystery, and weight of the story. You're standing here telling your story. So, where's the suspense? By the way, there's only one spoiler that should be allowed in a story when you're telling your story on stage, and I'll tell you more about that later. My name is Ladi Loera. I'm a storytelling teacher and coach in Austin, Texas. I run a storytelling school called the Storyteller Studio and a couple of shows here, Testify and the Austin Story Slam. And I love talking about storytelling. So let's talk about it. This is the trap of the past tense. You see, I know it feels safe. And it feels reflective, but it also signals to your audience, relax, nothing dangerous is going to happen. The problem is, stories thrive on danger and suspense and uncertainty. So if you say, I locked myself out of the house, the audience knows you figured it out because you're here talking about it. But if you say, I am locked out of the house, suddenly they are right there with you in that moment, wondering, what's going to happen next? Let's look at some examples by looking at movies. And there are 3 horror movies. I apologize. Yeah, I love horror movies. We're going to look at Alien, we're going to look at Godzilla, and we're going to look at Train to Busan. Now, Alien is set in the future in the year 2122. Godzilla is set in the past in 1954. And Train to Busan is mostly present day. Different settings, sure. But when you sit in the theater, when are these movies taking place? Right now. The action is happening in front of you, in the present tense. The setting may be the past, or the present, or the future, but the experience is always happening now. 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 By the way, if this video is something that you're enjoying and it's helping you at all, do me a favor, go down there and find the like button and give that thing a big old boop. I worked with a storyteller who had this moment. He needed to leave urgently, but he had locked his keys inside the house. He couldn't start the car because he couldn't get back inside, and his car keys were inside the house. At first, he told it in the past tense. I was locked out of the house. I'm going to be late for work again. I couldn't call anyone because my phone was in the house with my keys. It was fine, but it was kind of flat. So I asked him to shift it to the present tense, and he did. I am locked out of my house. My keys are locked in the house along with my phone. I am late to work again. And suddenly, the story changed. People who were listening to his story leaned in. They felt the urgency. They were trapped with him. Every detail had an edge because the story wasn't something that had happened. It was something that is happening now. Here's why present tense is so powerful. It immerses the audience. They're not listening to a story. They are living the story with you, the storyteller. It builds suspense because they don't know what's coming next. It sharpens emotion. Every detail feels important and immediate. It transforms the performance as well because you're not just recalling the story, you're reliving the story. So let's recap a bit. Past tense is safe, reflective, but less urgent. Present tense is immersive, suspenseful, and alive. Movies remind us that no matter the setting, no matter the action, everything happens now as we are witnessing it. On stage, when you shift into the present tense, you turn your story into a shared experience with the audience. The next time you're working on a story, look for past tense language and change it to present tense. Notice how it changes the energy in your story and how it changes the energy in you. Because when you tell your story in the present tense, your brain shifts and it experiences the story again as if it's happening right now in real time. And If you're still interested in storytelling, I have another video for you to look at. It's right here somewhere. It's all about second person language and why you should not use it when you're telling your story. I almost forgot. That spoiler I told you, the only spoiler that should be allowed in a story when you're telling it on stage, you already told it by appearing on stage. Everyone in the audience will know, no matter what you're talking about in your story, you have survived it up until this point because you're here to tell the story. That's the only spoiler you should do. Everything else should happen in the story as it unfolds. That way your audience gets to experience it with you as you tell the story, and you get to relive it as you share your story with the audience. That's it for now, folks. Adios.